Aruba was supposed to be the last carefree stop before college, sun, sand, and a graduation toast. But when 18-year-old Natalee Holloway stepped into a stranger's car, paradise closed its doors. 18 summers passed. Suspects were arrested, released, re-arrested, cameras camped on beaches. Then, in 2023, a confession cut through years of rumor like a riptide. Today we look into the evidence, the lies, and the single sentence that finally told the world what happened. Strap in. This isn't just a cold case warmed over. It's a lesson in how truth can vanish as fast as footprints in wet sand.
Welcome to Crime Bite.
In this channel, we peel back the layers of those hidden realities. Raw evidence, conflicting testimonies, and emotional pleas for help that too often come too late. By looking into these crime bites, you'll see firsthand how broken trust, systemic oversights, and chilling motives can converge into stories that rattle us to the core. If you find this exploration as vital as we do, be sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notifications button. Together, we can shine a light on the cases that demand attention, ensuring every voice, especially the silenced, finds the audience it deserves. Natalee Holloway lands in Aruba on May 26, 2005, with 123 other graduates from Mountain Brook High School, Alabama. 4 years' worth of AP classes and soccer tournaments culminate here, in an all-inclusive escape ironically dubbed Senior Celebration. The island greets them like a bright postcard. Blinding sand, carefree cocktails, no curfew. Natalee, a National Honor Society regular headed for pre-med at the University of Alabama, lets the salty air peel away her habitual precision. Friends joke that this is her first act of rebellion. Let loose, Miss Perfect. The chaperone's 9 parents enforce only one rule: everyone back at the Holiday Inn by 1 a.m. But nightlife throbs at Carlos and Charlie's downtown. Open till 3, floor sticky with spilled cocktails, DJ hollering 90s anthems. On May 29th, Natalee climbs into the bar's cage dance floor for half a song, then returns to a table where a lanky Dutch 17-year-old buys her another drink. Joran van der Sloot, athletic, confident, telling anyone who'll listen, he plays tennis and studies business in the Netherlands. At 1:30 a.m., the bar ejects its blur of tourists into humid streets. Natalee, makeup glossy with sweat, skips the waiting charter bus and slides into a silver Honda Civic with Joran and 2 Surinamese Aruban brothers, Deepak and Satish Kalpo. Friends watch taillights vanish toward the lighthouse at the island's northern tip. They shrug. Natalee lives by alarm clocks. Surely she'll drift in before sunrise. No one sees her during the 7 a.m. head count. Luggage remains untouched in room 1516. Her bed is undisturbed. Classmates rib each other until panic drills down. Natalee, punctual, meticulous, misses an 8 a.m. flight home. Chaperone JQ Froelich scrambles to hotel security. The local police log a missing person report by noon. If your straight-A friend ignores the one curfew she's never broken, do you assume adventure, or fear she's already vanished into the sunrise? Aruban authorities deploy an unprecedented search force. Coast Guard cutters trawl turquoise shallows. Dutch Marines slash machetes through cactus thickets. Cadaver dogs sniff limestone caves. Islanders accustomed to honeymooners now map gridded sectors like a war zone. Natalee's mother, Beth Twitty, lands 24 hours later with a 10-person team bearing boxed flyers and raw desperation. She storms the bar, the casino, the police precinct, demanding to face Joran van der Sloot. Officers locate him in class at the International School of Aruba. Joran retells the previous night with cool precision. We drove her to the Holiday Inn. She stumbled near security. I left her there. The Kalpo brothers affirm the script. Security footage, grainy and unreliable, fails to place Natalee at the lobby entrance. American media turns Aruba into primetime spectacle. Networks deploy anchors under palm trees. Nancy Grace's nightly countdown intensifies pressure. Aruban Prime Minister Nelson Oduber pleads for patience on CNN. Tourism officials fear high-season collapse. Meanwhile, local detectives juggle jurisdictional gridlock. Dutch law oversees the Commonwealth Islands judiciary. U.S. diplomats hover, pressing for FBI inclusion. Evidence is scant. No body, no weapon, no timeline beyond last-seen speculation. 3 weeks in, investigators bring Joran and the Kalpos back for questioning. This time the story fractures. They admit driving to Arashi Beach, claim Natalee wanted to watch starfish, insist they left her barefoot on the sand at 2 a.m. The tide, they say, was serene. Polygraphs are considered but never administered. Beth Twitty fumes on the Today Show. They know where my daughter is. Aruba's Attorney General tightens surveillance, yet each lead washes back empty as the Caribbean tide. Share your opinions in the comments section. When truth slips through 3 synchronized stories, which crack do you probe first? The beach, the nightclub, or the silence in between? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on notifications button for more. June 9, 2005, police arrest the trio on suspicion of kidnapping and homicide. Aruba's legal code allows suspects to be held for 8 days without charge, renewable upon judicial review. Detectives grill them in separate cells, none break. Joran, cocky despite ankle chains, suggests Beth Twitty pay $200,000 for Natalee's safe return, then retracts the offer as just an idea. Deepak files a complaint against Dutch interrogators for rough language. Reporters swarm the courthouse as hearings unfold in Dutch dialects foreign to American ears. No physical evidence surfaces. Sand in the Honda's floor mats contains no trace of blood. Coast Guard sonar detects nothing but coral ridges. After 60 days, a magistrate orders the suspects released. Downtown, a protest march chants justice for Natalee under tropical rain. Joran appears on Fox News, claiming Natalee wanted to party, that she might have overdosed, that he left her on the beach alive. Each interview spawns fresh contradictions. Back in Alabama, Natalee's classmates begin freshman year under the weight of an empty desk. Mountain Brook City Hall erects a missing person billboard. Church vigils echo with silent night, though Christmas looms 5 months away. In December, Aruba's chief prosecutor announces insufficient ground for murder charges. Beth calls the island corruption incarnate. Tourism slides 7%. Cruise lines reroute. Joran, newly infamous, boards a flight to the Netherlands to study international business. Tuition paid by gambling winnings he claims were pure luck. If a prime suspect flees to college while grieving parents hold candlelight vigils, does justice dim, or simply retreat to a colder latitude? 2006, 2009, Natalee's case becomes a masterclass in 24-hour news economics. Ratings for missing blonde stories soar. Beth Twitty co-authors a memoir, tours college campuses warning young women about travel safety. Every May, the anniversary revives interest. Every July, sweeps period sees Joran selling yet another version of events to Dutch tabloids. He attends poker tournaments, courts nightlife in Rotterdam, and blogs philosophical musings on MySpace. No stone remains unturned. Psychics scour aerial maps. Alabama volunteers dig landfill sites. Dutch TV funds deep-sea dives employing cadaver-sniffing dogs trained for underwater detection. Each expedition resurfaces only starfish and rumor. Aruba's statute of limitations for homicide looms. 12 years. Beth lobbies for an extension. Lawmakers hesitate, wary of setting precedent. Meanwhile, Joran gambles away scholastic prospects, drops out, and returns to Aruba in 2007, then flees to Thailand amid sex work trafficking allegations. Late 2009, he emails Beth's attorney, "I know where Natalee is. Transfer $250. She alerts the FBI. They authorize a $15,000 sting wire. Joran pockets the cash, spins another lie, and books a flight to Lima, Peru. When a liar monetizes sorrow for sport, do you cut contact or bait the hook, hoping greed finally topples hubris? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on notifications button for more. May 30th, 2010, exactly 5 years after Natalee vanished, 21-year-old Stephanie Flores meets Joran at a Lima casino. Surveillance shows them laughing en route to his hotel room at 5:34 a.m. 48 minutes later, he exits alone, pausing to adjust his shirt. Housekeeping discovers Stephanie beaten to death, laptop stolen, blood spatter on sheets. Interpol issues an alert. Joran is caught in Chile and extradited. Joran confesses, claiming Stephanie found Natalee-related emails on his laptop and enraged him. He offers to reveal Natalee's location in exchange for transfer to Aruba. The plea is rejected. 2012 sentencing, 28 years. Cameras capture Beth Twitty outside the courthouse, grief and grim vindication mixing on her face. U.S. prosecutors meantime unveil the 2010 wire fraud indictment for extorting Beth. But Joran is locked in Peru. America waits its turn. Natalee's case enters a paradox, legally dormant yet forever resurrecting through Joran's carnage. Share your opinions in the comments section below. If your prime suspect generates new victims abroad, does it strengthen the original case or underline how justice delayed can cost fresh lives? 2023, Beth's lobbying finally synchronizes international gears. Peru agrees to temporarily extradite Joran to Birmingham, Alabama, to face extortion and wire fraud charges. The deal: after U.S. sentencing, he will return to Peruvian custody until 2038, then serve any American time. U.S. Marshals escort him onto a Justice Prisoner Air Service jet, shackled, orange jumpsuit over tattooed arms. Federal prosecutors craft a plea, plead guilty, repay $25,000 in restitution, and crucially, deliver a full, truthful confession about Natalee Holloway under oath. If he lies, the deal voids. Facing stacked evidence and global disdain, Joran agrees, October 3, 2023. Joran sits before U.S. District Judge Anna Manasco, hands cuffed to waist chain. Prosecutor Daniel McConaughey cues a video. 3 FBI agents and Dutch interpreter question Joran days earlier. His confession pours out in cold monotone. She need me. I kicked her face. I saw a cinder block, smashed her. I dragged the body into the surf. It floated out. Beth hears the words from 3 rows back, tears sliding unchecked. 18 years of prayer distill into a paragraph. Judge Manasco reads the sentence. 20 years consecutive to Peru. Joran signs restitution papers. The courtroom empties. Beth stands alone, whispering, "It's over." When a confession arrives without a body, does it settle the soul, or seed new doubts of evidence forever beyond reach? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on notifications button for more. The confession is only minutes old when scientists begin running the math. Oceanographers extract 2005 wind logs, tide tables, and swell heights. On screen, a digital Natalee floats from the beach's shelving sandbar into roaring reef drop-offs, then slides down a subsea ravine as dawn currents quicken. The model shows how in less than 3 hours, a 110-pound body could travel almost a mile offshore, lose buoyancy as lungs flood, and settle amid coral pinnacles that plunge beyond recreational diver depth. By mid-morning, the water column there teems with parrotfish and blacktip reef sharks. Nature's perfect evidence shredder, marine forensics teams run side-scan sonar over the predicted coordinates for days. Every anomaly turns out to be reef ledge, fishing net, or volcanic rock. Their conclusion mirrors the animation. Recovery probability approaches 0. The FBI releases a subdued statement. Joran van der Sloot's account is materially consistent with long-held intelligence. Behind that bureaucratic phrasing lies grim acceptance. The sea is both crime scene and coffin, yet skepticism persists. Veteran profilers remind cameras that Joran's CV is written in deception. Could this confession simply be a chess move, truth traded for a tidy U.S. plea bargain? Social media sleuths ignite. What if he sold Natalee into trafficking? What if accomplices hauled her to a fishing boat? Subthreads parse every Dutch pronoun in the transcript. YouTube psych channels freeze-frame his micro-expressions. Within 12 hours, the hashtag Still Searching trends worldwide. Beth Holloway, weighing evidence only she has seen, tells press she will step off the search trail at last. Her words land somewhere between relief and surrender. Aruba's Minister of Justice follows with a formal statement. We consider this case resolved. Locals hope the island will finally be associated with sunsets instead of disappearance. But families of other missing loved ones feel the knife twist. How did this particular case, white, American, photogenic, hold front-page space for 18 years while their files sit in dusty cabinets? In a roundtable special, a criminologist coins the term narrative closure, the psychological satisfaction audiences claim when a believable story supplants the need for physical proof. It's closure purchased at the counter of probability, she says, not at the lab bench of certainty. Donations to Natalee's memorial scholarship quadruple in a week. Beth channels new funds into search and recovery tech grants. Yet some critics shrug that the Holloway effort consumed finite airtime and empathy. They note that, in the same time span, thousands of non-white women vanished without headline magnets or scholarship endowments. Beth answers them during her final podium appearance in Mountain Brook. If my microphone is louder, I'll keep handing it to the mothers still waiting. A standing ovation rises, but the undercurrent is complicated. Equal parts admiration and uncomfortable self-examination when the only remaining witness is a confessed killer and the ocean guards its silence. Is believing the story enough? Or does true justice require bones beneath a headstone? 3 eras of journalism orbit Natalee Holloway's name. First came the cable news blitz. Anchor desks transplanted to palm-lined boulevards, live countdown tickers, satellite trucks crowding hotel parking lots. Viewership spiked 200% during the inaugural summer. Advertisers flocked. Critics coined missing white woman syndrome, yet producers countered with raw Nielsen numbers. The audience craved updates. The second era unfolded when Joran murdered Stephanie Flores. Newsrooms framed the case as proof positive of earlier suspicions, validating their years-long coverage. Ratings again climbed. Graphic designers refreshed lower third templates with blood-red gradients. Journalism schools dissected the ethics. Relentless spotlight forced authorities to act, but did it also warp priorities, pouring resources into a story built for television while quiet tragedies languished? The confession ushers in the third era: content atomization. Tweets, reels, podcasts, livestream breakdowns. One TikTok clip, 5 facts Netflix skipped, earns 6 million views overnight. The Holloway narrative becomes modular, shareable, monetizable. Influencers travel to Aruba for true crime tourism, filming hotel lobbies that once swarmed with police tape. Local officials pivot fast, launching a Safe Shores public relations campaign featuring upgraded CCTV grids, beach path lighting, and a smartphone app that pings travelers if they leave a designated nightlife zone alone. Tourism, once threatened, rebounds above pre-2005 numbers. Beth Holloway pens 18 Summers of Waiting, her final memoir. Every royalty check goes straight into a foundation funding GPS-based chaperone programs dubbed Holloway protocols. Mandatory buddy systems, midnight head counts, emergency texting trees for youth tours abroad. High schools nationwide adopt them. Risk management insurers lower premiums. In press interviews, Beth insists, "If I can't bring Natalee home, I can at least escort other kids safely out and back." Back in Mountain Brook, Alabama, the high school football stadium still reserves seat 17. Natalee's senior class number. Every homecoming. Alumni now in their late 30s gather for the 20-year reunion under string lights. They toast marriages, careers, toddlers. At dusk, they walk to midfield where a bronze bell waits on a wooden tripod. One ring for every year Natalee should have shared their journey. 20 tolls echo across freshly painted yard lines. On the 20th chime, star-spangled skies swallow the sound, and grown men wipe tears onto suit jacket sleeves. Journalism professors stream that ceremony in classrooms. Some call it a triumph of advocacy. Others wince at the unspoken message. You must fit a certain demographic silhouette to command such persistent narrative oxygen. A final panel debate closes with a blunt slide. All missing persons deserve a headline. How do we balance justice with ratings? No student raises a definitive answer. When the story of a lost daughter becomes curriculum, travel policy, and marketing strategy, does her memory serve a higher purpose, or imperceptibly fuel an industry built on tragedy? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on notifications button for more. Returned to Peru in late 2023, Joran faces a stricter regime than before. Guards confiscate contraband phone privileges. Peruvian inmates disdain child killer reputations. Reports leak that he trades cigarettes for Dutch lessons. His Peruvian sentence ends 2038, but U.S. Marshals hold a detainer. Should he survive prison violence, he'll face another 2 decades in an American penitentiary. Middle age spent pacing between cinderblock horizons. Dutch tabloids run yearly, whereas Joran now features. Readership dwindles. Psychologists debate whether his confession stemmed from narcissism craving final narrative control, or genuine fatigue at carrying secret weight. Beth Holloway refuses to speculate. "I'm done giving him my oxygen." Share your thoughts in the comments section. Does a confinement spanning nations neutralize a manipulator, or merely cage his stories, waiting for the next audience? 18 summers passed before one sentence cut through surf and rumor. I dragged her into the sea. The tide keeps its own clock. Coral graves whisper nothing. Yet Natalee's name endures, stitched into scholarships, carved on memorial benches, spoken in travel safety seminars. Beth Holloway returns to Aruba only once more, scattering hibiscus petals where shoreline meets reef. She does not search the water. Instead, she thanks it for holding the secret till confession surfaced. Closure, she's learned, is a spectrum. On one end lies legal finality, On the other, a mother's silent dawn prayer. Somewhere in between, an island exhales, a courtroom closes, and an 18-year headline retires to archives. Resolved, if not recovered. When the ocean guards your loved one's last breath, is the greatest act of justice discovering the truth, or choosing finally to let the tide speak for itself? Joran van der Sloot's confession gave Natalee's family an answer, but no grave, no remains, no final goodbye. Do you believe his story? Or is there more buried beneath these waves than a single man will ever admit? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If tonight's story shed light on the power and limits of a courtroom confession, hit like. So YouTube knows true crime fans should see it too. And remember to subscribe and tap the notification bell. Next time, we will unravel a gripping climax that promises to be captivating. Trust me, you don't want to miss that twist. Until then, stay curious, stay safe, and keep asking the questions that make the darkness answer.